It's a new era for the Mountaineer football team. I'm Julia Mellett, and coming up next on Mountaineer Playbook, I'll take you down to the sidelines of the spring game.
I'm Bree Clark, and coming up next on Mountaineer Playbook, I'll take you inside Erickson Alumni Center, where WVU's 66 mascot will receive his buckskins.
I'm Matt Menard. Coming up on Mountaineer Playbook, I'll tell you about a Mountaineer squad getting ready to host their first ever Big 12 tournament.
What's going on, everybody? We're back with another edition of Mountaineer Playbook. I'm Abby Backenstow.
And I'm Bree Clark. In our top story, we'll take you down to Mountaineer Field for your first look at the Neil Brown era.
We'll also give you a behind-the-scenes look at the newest Mountaineer mascot and how the WVU golf team prepares to host their first ever Big 12 tournament.
The WVU football team held their annual Gold-Blue game on April 13th. Their scrimmage raised money for WVU Medicine Children's Hospital and drew the third largest crowd in the history of the event.
Over 1,800 people made their way to Milan Puskar Stadium to catch a glimpse of the Mountaineers in their new uniforms. Reporter Julia Mellett was on the sidelines for the spring game. She has more.
The Mountaineer faithful got their first look at the new era when WVU football renewed its spring game. After having to cancel the 2018 game due to inclement weather, the team under Neil Brown was itching to get out and scrimmage.
Coach Brown does a phenomenal job in practice and just, throughout the facilities in general. He does a great job on keeping us on our toes, whether, it's on the field, off the field. So ultimately, I've watched these guys battle through adversity, for 14 straight practices. So again, they just stepped into the plate just like they always do. So I'm really proud of these guys.
The differences from last season's culture were evident, but one thing that hadn't changed since 1980 was the Flying WV.
2019 welcomed multiple changes to the Mountaineer football program, including a new coaching staff, a new Mountaineer, the renewal of the spring game, and a new jersey rotation.
At halftime of the game, new uniforms were introduced, modeled by some familiar current and former Mountaineers. The grays hadn't been worn since 2012, and the uniforms were created by Nike through a lengthy design process.
The Flying WV is our identity. That's our primary identity, and we wanted to protect that and to only enhance that. So that was, I think, part of when you talk about the back and forth, that was the message that we started with, and I think Paul and the entire gig team really delivered on that part of it.
Breaking down the game, the defensive line had a tremendous showing. On offense, the quarterbacks left some to be desired after running primarily screens and short yardage plays.
I'm not saying we struggled, but there's ups and downs just through putting a whole new offense in and just being on the same page with the receivers, route running, offensive line blocking, quarterbacks making throws, making the right reads, making the right protection calls. But we just got to really come together this fall.
Kendall lauded the plays of the running backs as stealing the show.
I mean, I got high expectations for everybody on the team. I kind of expected everybody to play the way they did. With this group, we compete, so anything less than what we produced today would be a surprise.
WVU football will return to Milan Puskar Stadium on August 31st against James Madison. For Mountaineer Playbook, I'm Julia Mellett.
As a new era begins for Mountaineer football, a new era begins for the Mountaineer mascot. The 65th Mountaineer, Trevor Keese, ended his term in the Buckskins and passed his musket to the new face of WVU. I went to the Erickson Alumni Center to catch the passing of the musket. Friends, family, and former Mountaineers gathered at Erickson Alumni Center for one of the most sacred ceremonies at WVU. Trevor Keese passed the rifle to the newest Mountaineer, Timmy Eads, a sophomore from Buffalo, West Virginia.
It's been a wonderful ride. Like I said, it's been the greatest experience of my entire life. I'll never do anything else the rest of my life to match this. And it was a great ceremony, a great tribute today. I'm so excited for Timmy as he takes on the rifle and begins his term.
Former Mountaineers, including Natalie Tennant, had some encouraging words for the newest face of West Virginia University.
The Mountaineer mascot is the most beloved of all West Virginia University traditions and symbolizes the proud and rich heritage of the Mountain State and its people.
As our 65th Mountaineer, Trevor Keese, concludes his time as the mascot, he passes the rifle to Timmy Eads, a West Virginia native and the new face of the Mountaineers. Concluding his time as West Virginia's 65th mascot, Trevor Keese explains why Timmy is perfect for the role of WVU's newest Mountaineer.
The one common thread we all share is our love for the state and our love for the university, and I think that is so unique, and he definitely has that trait, he has that gene, he knows what it means to be the Mountaineer, and I couldn't pick a better guy to pass off the rifle to.
New Mountaineer Timmy Eads couldn't hold back his smile when explaining what it means to be the next WVU mascot.
I can't even begin to tell you. This is something I've dreamed of for a long time now. So just be able to stand here and hold this rifle, it's truly a dream come true.
What are you missing?
Go! Mountaineers! Let's go! Mountaineers! Thank you all.
Timmy's Mountaineer duties are effective immediately. He will have a full year to wear the buckskins and continue West Virginia's favorite tradition.
The Mountaineer mascot has a rich history dating back to 1927 when the very first mascot wore the traditional buckskin uniform. But while some traditions have been around for almost 100 years, others are brand new. Reporter Matt Menard joins us now from Studio B with more on a young sports teams program with a big milestone. Matt?
Thanks, Abby. In just their 4th official season, the WVU golf team is gearing up to host its first ever Big 12 tournament. The match will take place at the Greenbrier in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. WVU Golf is hosting its first ever Big 12 tournament. The Mountaineers will have a short 3-hour drive to the Greenbrier Golf Club. Head coach Sean Kovich believes the home comfort will help keep the guys loose.
They know what to expect. They've been to the property. They know where everything's laid out. So just being familiar with it, I don't know if it gives us an advantage, but there's being at a comfortable place will certainly help.
The Mountaineers capped off their regular season with a 3rd-place finish at Penn State's Rutherford Intercollegiate Tournament. They'll be looking to build on that momentum in the Big 12 tournament on their home course. Sophomore Matt Sharpstein has 4 top 10 finishes this season, and the team is currently ranked 47th nationally. Sharpstein says forming team bonds has been a key to their success.
I feel like we've gotten a lot closer as a team as well, and I think when you're really close as a team, you start to play better. You know, like when I was here as a freshman, I didn't really know like the guys that well, and now that we're starting to become brothers, we've done a lot better together.
Sharpstein is one of 6 Mountaineers to make the All-Big 12 academic team. This speaks volumes in a sport where mentality is so crucial.
When you have a good mental attitude, it's a lot easier to play golf, and you know, I think 70% of golf is mental.
The tournament begins this Friday, with WVU teeing off at 10 a.m. The Mountaineers finished 9th at last year's tournament, and they'll certainly be aiming higher than that after their impressive regular season. Now back to you at the Waterfront Studio.
Thanks, Matt. It was nearly 10 years ago when a WVU student was assaulted and hospitalized right here on campus. Today, that student remains in a vegetative state.
Ryan Deviney was a sophomore when he was attacked by 2 other students on campus. Now, an organization he supported while he was a WVU student is giving back to him and his family. Michael Rinker has more.
Ryan Deviney loved being a Mountaineer fan, but all of that came to a crashing end when he was attacked back in November of 2009. Today, the Mountaineer Maniacs continue to hold a yearly fundraiser in support of the Deviney family.
And you just feel a lot for the families and for him. So I think for us to be able to come out here and raise support for his family, I think that it's something that everyone should be willing to participate in and should want to participate in.
This is the 8th year for the annual event. From participants and sponsors, the Maniacs were able to raise over $1,000 for Ryan and his family.
It's events like these that raise awareness of it to move us away from that idea or even the thought of stuff happening like that. So I think that we need more events like this and more people to come out and support it.
The assault took place on November 9th, 2009, just 1 street over from the nearest campus building, right about here where I stand. Now, almost 10 years later, his family is still proud to be called Mountaineers.
In fact, the Deviney family sent their own daughter, Carrie Deviney, to WVU after the attack. She has since graduated and is now a school teacher in Northern Virginia.
Even after something so tragically happened to him, his family is still loves the school, still supports the school.
But life for the Deviney family continues to be difficult. Immediately after the incident, his family had to make adjustments in their day-to-day lives.
His father had to quit his job and stays with him full-time to care for him.
The Mountaineer Maniacs raised a little over $1,000 at this year's event. For Mountaineer Playbook, I'm Michael Rinker.
A great event for a great cause. Thanks, Michael. Coming up after the break, the WVU volleyball team is making strides after a disappointing 2018 season.
And later, find out what it takes to be a Mountaineer student athlete and how WVU puts on their own version of the ESPYs. Don't go anywhere. Mountaineer Playbook returns after the break.
I'm Alex Baylog, and coming up next to Mountaineer Playbook, I'll tell you how the Mountaineers plan to bump up the Big 12 standings come fall.
I'm Abby Backenstow, and coming up on Mountaineer Playbook, I'll tell you why all these WVU athletes are here tonight.
We conquer mountains, but that's not why they call us Mountaineers. It's because we don't let anything stand in our way. We build what's never been built. Seek cures for the incurable. And go first into undiscovered frontiers. We are Mountaineers, and impossible is just another mountain to climb.
It was a disappointing season last year for Coach Reed Sunahara and the WVU volleyball team.
That's right, Bree. The Mountaineers won only 2 Big 12 matches in 2018, but they're already back to work and looking to improve in 2019. Reporter Alex Baylog has more from spring workouts.
Although the volleyball season doesn't start till the fall semester, the Mountaineers are getting a jump start on the competition. Coach Reed Sunahara believes that spring practices and scrimmages with other schools will transition to progress in the fall.
We're just playing each other right now, and they know each other like a book. So playing other teams, we played Penn State last weekend, we played Villanova, we played Syracuse. Those matches help because they all played a different style of volleyball.
Even though the Mountaineers know how to play each other, sophomore Alexa Hastings believes that spring will help the team play together as one.
We've really just been focusing on connecting as a team because last year, we had a lot of freshmen playing. So now that they have a year under their belt, I think we're doing a lot better job just kind of connecting with them and everyone kind of being on the same page going into next season.
The Mountaineers finished 2-14 in conference play last season, which was last in the Big 12. Coach Sunahara is hoping that the spring sessions help set up success for the Mountaineers in the fall.
Looking to rise up the Big 12 standings next season, the Mountaineers hired a new assistant coach, Adriana Souza, who brings with him volleyball knowledge from outside of the U.S.
He has a good volleyball mind. He brings, he's from Brazil, and he brings kind of the Brazilian style, the men's game, into the women's game.
Alexa Hastings says that the team's goal is to reach the NCAA tournament as a top seed in the Big 12. Coach Sunahara believes that they have the pieces to do this, they just have to put the puzzle together. For Mountaineer Playbook, I'm Alex Baylog.
It takes a lot of work to be a student athlete. Just this March, the NCAA released a video on social media representing a day in the life of a student athlete. But many student athletes thought the video misrepresented the amount of work they actually go through on a daily basis. Reporter Erin Slendy found out what it's really like to be a student athlete at WVU.
Free college may seem like a dream for some, but for student athletes, this dream comes with a price.
There is a lot of hard work you don't see, that they don't get to see. The 6 a.m. practices we've had every day for the past 13 weeks. I mean, it takes a toll, but at the end of the day, I just think people need to realize how much work goes into, doing what we love.
From class, to practice, to study hall, to treatment, to film, trying to fit all of these things in one day on top of being a full-time college student can be exhausting for student athletes. It's 6 a.m., and while most college students are in bed, Audrey is here practicing. Experts say that nearly 9 out of 10 athletes get less than 8 hours of sleep a night. And if you think that's tough, try doing it 6 days a week. With all of these time demands, student athletes are forced to have good time management skills.
They have to consider every minute of their day. Some college students can take the time to relax and lay around and maybe spend half the day not really doing anything. Our athletes don't have that option.
The transition from being a high school athlete to being a college athlete can be tough. Sports psychologist Dana Charbonneau says that athletes have to make self-care a priority with their demanding schedules.
It's one thing to see, oh, you had an hour of a lift here, but how do you actually feel after the lift, right? The energy demands that are also on top of just the things that you have to accomplish. So that takes a toll throughout the entire day.
All the late night studying, all the waking up before sunrises, and all the stress trying to stay on top of their schoolwork. Athletes do it for one reason.
It's something I've always loved ever since I was little. It's been in my family, and I've played for so many years, and it's just become a part of who I am, and I love that part of me.
Reporting for Mountaineer Playbook, I'm Erin Slendy.
As hard as our student athletes work, they do get to have some fun from time to time. It's the WVU athletics version of the Grammys, the Oscars, or the ESPYs. However you spin it, the Blue and Golden Globe Awards recognize excellence once a year in Mountaineer sports. I went behind the scenes to take a closer look.
Roll out the gold carpet. The annual Blue and Golden Globe Awards are held to honor WVU athletes for their achievements on and off the field.
So it's a really cool event, and it's probably like the only thing where all the student athletes are gathered together, and we just recognize everyone for their amazing accomplishments.
Athletes receiving these awards say it's nice to be recognized for their achievements. Senior soccer player Hannah Abraham won the Gold Academic Award as well as Exceptional Senior.
We're recruited mostly for our athletic abilities, not for our smarts, so it's nice to be recognized for something that is kind of put in the back when it comes to like our recognition. So it's nice to get awards and be noticed for your hard work outside of the athletic field.
So like the past 3 years, I put in so much work, like waking up every day, at 5 a.m. to lift and swim. Like it's been a lot, but just coming back from behind and winning was amazing. It all paid off.
And coaches were also recognized for their achievements.
I think recognizing that every day you should strive for something and be your best that you can be, whether it's in the classroom or on the field. And I think these moments are important for everybody just because it really goes beyond the game.
Over 300 athletes were recognized for achievements on the field or in the classroom.
Such a fun event. Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Mountaineer Playbook. Don't miss out on the Big 12 Golf Championships at the Greenbrier on April 27th. I'm Abby Backenstow.
And I'm Bree Clark. Make sure to head over to Mon County Ballpark on April 30th as our Red Hot baseball team takes on rival Marshall in the Friends of Cole Classic. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.